The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com.
Time of day, cause I'm a renegade. Never been afraid to holler about anything.
All right, welcome into the Sports Renegades here on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky.
And today we're going to start off the show talking about the finals and just sort of talking about...
what a joke the NBA playoffs are.
Pretty much. Obviously the Warriors won in 5 games. A lot of people were thinking sweep. I didn't think it would be a sweep, but I thought, the Warriors would win maybe in 6 or 7 games. I think I said on Twitter 7, just to see if it would be an exciting series after not having a very exciting NBA playoffs up until that point. But... the Warriors won. The big reason why is because they got Kevin Durant, and that kind of put them over the top. And, I would like to say that the Cavs and Warriors will switch back and forth, but, I guess we don't really know.
We don't even know what LeBron James' plans are after this offseason.
I'm assuming he's going to stay in Cleveland.
I don't think so. And I'll tell you why. It started last offseason, and this is after they won, after he brought that title back to Cleveland.
Right.
And it was probably maybe towards the end of July, might have been first week of August, and he still hadn't re-signed with Cleveland. He opted out of his contract, which he had then he ended up signing his 3rd consecutive 2-year deal with an opt-out after one.
Right.
And it was like the end of July, and he still hadn't signed. And then there was a report published that he's not returning any of the Cavaliers' calls, and he's just out on vacation. And they were actually getting worried that he might not re-sign. He opted out of his deal, and then that was it. Didn't talk to them for a while, and then he ended up re-signing, in which he should have, because to help with their title defense. And I think now they lost, and when they were trying to repeat, and I feel like he owed Cleveland a championship. He got it for them, and now it's time for him to move on.
And
now there's a report that he wants to go to one of the LA teams to see how things go in Hollywood.
I didn't hear anything about this, but I know what you're talking about last year. I didn't see anything up until this point that he was trying to go to LA, or that he might, opt out or not re-sign.
Well, he's going to opt out of his deal,
right?
For sure. I mean, I don't think
that's expected. But
I don't think anyone knows what his plans are, and it really, to me, it kind of would make sense for him to leave. I don't think he's ever seen eye to eye with Dan Gilbert, the owner of the Cavs. He's always having these closed door meetings, and sometimes complains that he's not spending enough money. Right. And then Dan Gilbert, of course, wrote that nasty letter to him after he left for Miami. I just don't think LeBron sees eye to eye with them anymore. I think he felt he owed the city of Cleveland to try to win them a championship, and now that he's won it, we'll see what happens. He came back to try to help defend their title. They lost. And it really just kind of does go back to last offseason for me, because isn't that kind of odd that he didn't just re-sign quickly? He was ignoring calls from the GM, the coach, Tyronn Lue,
I don't know.
And the owner, Dan Gilbert.
Maybe he was just on a long vacation. He didn't want to deal with any of it. I'm not sure. I don't know. The thing about that is, if he were to leave, where would he go that he'd have a better chance of winning the title than staying in Cleveland?
There was a report that he's interested in going to Los Angeles.
To the Lakers or the Clippers?
Either.
I don't know. Those rosters right now aren't as good as the Cavs roster. That's the problem right now. And the only team that can even win at least a game against Golden State is Cleveland, apparently. So,
well, I think San Antonio could have.
San Antonio would have won that game 1, and they probably would have won one at home too. But they wouldn't have won the series. But
I think it's tough because Leonard didn't play after that game 1. And you really don't know. I mean,
well, it wouldn't have been a sweep. We know that.
No. And I mean, LeBron might be just ready to move on. I mean, think about a roster. You have Blake Griffin, LeBron James, and Chris Paul.
I agree. It's a good roster, but there's reports that Chris Paul wants to out.
Do you think that his mind might change of LeBron James?
Yes, if that were the case, yes. I don't know. I can't see him doing that for a second time.
It wouldn't be it would be completely different.
It would be different circumstances, but it would be the same feeling for Cleveland fans. He kind of screwed us over again for a second time, and then they kind of go back to not being the best team in the East.
He didn't really screw them over this time if he were to leave. He won them a championship, and I think he knew that he needed to win one for the city of Cleveland, and he did that.
Right. I mean, that is the ultimate goal that he set out ever since he first got drafted in 2003. He wanted to win a title for his hometown. And he did finally do that, but I don't know. I feel like when you win one, you kind of want to win more. Now, that'll be tough with Golden State.
Now, if they had won this year, I think it would be completely different. They were trying to repeat. They lost.
Sure. I do think it would be. I mean, it is different, but I don't know. It would be hard to see him actually do that. I guess maybe if there's a really good situation in LA, then maybe you do it, but I don't know. I don't really see it happening, but I guess it always could happen. He surprised us once, when he went, and then he surprised again when he came back to Cleveland. So,
wouldn't you love to see LeBron, Wade, and Bosh that Miami team against this Golden State team? Wouldn't that be a good game?
That would be very competitive. Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be the same now if LeBron and Wade went back to Miami, because Bosh might not play again. Wade's washed up, and then LeBron will be 32, 33 next year.
Yeah, and the thing is that Miami team lost twice in the finals as well. They were 2-2 in the finals.
They were.
So that they lost.
They did make it
to
every
Dallas
year.
Somehow, which they shouldn't have lost to Dallas, but they lost to Dallas, and then they lost to San Antonio once.
And that one with San Antonio that they lost. That was not LeBron's fault. I'm pretty sure I believe he played out of his mind in every game, and everyone else on the team dragged him down.
He plays out of his mind in every finals. That's the thing. He pretty much carries his team. Where was Kyrie Irving these last few games in the finals? He was nowhere to be found. That was a huge problem for Cleveland.
And then Kevin Love wasn't that great. Except J.R. Smith was hitting his shots.
Yeah, J.R. Smith turned into Kyrie, and then you have Kyrie and Kevin Love not being able to do anything. You would think at least one of those guys could step up.
Kyrie was at least still dropping at least 20 points. He wasn't showing up.
Well, he's getting to the line and
year.
getting fouled. He's making free throws too. But yeah, especially with Kevin Love, he was good in that game 4 in Cleveland, and I think he hit 6 threes in that game. And then you go back out to Golden State and nothing. It just
he did nothing before that too.
He had his second basket of the game halfway through the third quarter. What are you doing, Kevin Love?
Yeah, and how about this? LeBron James averaged a triple-double, and his team lost in 5 games. And one big problem that I noticed is Kyle Korver not being able to shoot. That's something they need to be able to count on, him hitting wide-open threes, and instead he was missing shots, turning the ball over. They were better off with him off the floor.
I know. Kyle Korver, I can't believe how bad he was. And he also hasn't been very good in a couple years, it seems. So I don't know what that was, because they signed him for
they traded a first-round pick to
that's
get him.
right. Yeah, they traded for him halfway through the season or something.
Mm-hmm.
His main reason, the main reason for that was, when we get to the NBA Finals and we're playing Golden State, you're gonna need to knock down some big threes, and then we can win games. And that didn't happen. And Kevin Durant was sort of on fire throughout the whole finals, which, by the way, where was those performances from Kevin Durant when he was at Oklahoma City? That's what I want to know. Where were those performances? I didn't see that on Oklahoma City. I always liked Kevin Durant, thought he was a really good player, but he never seemed to show up in the biggest moments. He certainly did earlier this week.
Yeah, I guess he couldn't handle being the guy on Oklahoma City.
I think that's part of it. I really do. I mean, he kind of turned into the guy in these finals. I mean,
even though Curry's really the guy with the focus all on
Curry's the
Curry.
Face of the franchise.
With
yes.
Curry getting all the attention, Durant could just do it all because he's not good enough to be the guy or not clutch enough. I don't know. He did have a phenomenal finals, except what he did was just awful. Like,
right.
I mean, let's have all the good players team up just so that we can, and then the NBA can just sign a contract with Golden State and Cleveland until 2021 that the NBA Finals will be those two teams every year.
I hate when people make the comparison, well, Kevin Durant did the same thing that LeBron James did. But it's a completely different scenario because this is the team that Kevin Durant lost to just a month before he went and signed with them.
Oh, it is completely different.
Yeah,
LeBron went and teamed up with two
But everyone
guys.
will make that comparison. Everybody will be like, well, he did the same thing that LeBron James did in 2010. No, it's different.
No, that's the weakest.
LeBron James had like 3 teams that he was trying to go, there was a lot of talk about what he was going to do, and then he made a whole big television thing about it, which wasn't good. But, it's completely different because you had, a mission to go to a certain team where Kevin Durant just kind of, screwed them, signed with the big team in Golden State, and it didn't. There was no anticipation.
If you can't beat them, join them.
That's the classic one.
This will go down as the weakest move ever by a superstar, regardless that they won the finals. What he did was inexcusable. I mean, that's completely different. Just joining a super team than creating one.
I know. I agree. We're gonna take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk about this. We'll talk about the Bulls too and what. Maybe their plans for the offseason are.
Do we care?
Not really, but the Summer League is coming up, and they were the Summer League champions. Maybe they go for 2 in a row, Ryan. Wouldn't that be exciting?
Gar Foreman can add that to his resume.
Add it to the resume so he can bring it up at the press conferences.
Our Summer League team has won back-to-back championships. We feel we're in a really good position.
You're listening to Sports Renegades, SportsTownChicago.com.
The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com.